show you a lot of the I'm going to show you a lot of the things as well that you know, are things that maybe you hadn't thought of before, pieces of your marketing that may be missing. Because a lot of times I see people, they're doing some marketing, but they're doing marketing step 3, 4, and 5, and they haven't done step 1, 2, or 3. And then this is where they've, gone through multiple agencies, feel like they wasted a lot of time and money. So with that, Katie did give you a quick little background on us. So as she mentioned, I'm the founder of Medical Marketing Whiz. We've been around going on 10 years. We're going on our 10-year anniversary. But we really value not only partnerships with excellent organizations like Access Medical Labs, but we really want to partner with the best doctors because our bigger mission is just to help more patients find doctors that are actually offering these advanced and specialized services. And I can tell you this just from my own personal experience. I went through menopause when I was 41. I ended up, going to a bunch of doctors, even my gynecologist, while I love her and she delivered all my babies, she really wasn't a menopause specialist. And I ended up finding a functional medicine doctor who literally has changed my life. And I really want to scream from the rooftops that there's doctors out there that have the skills that you guys do, that are just waiting to find the right patients. And there's just not enough people that know about you. So we really partner with the best of the best physicians and nurse practitioners and PAs, to help more patients find you. And so what we're going to go over today is, and I can promise you, this is going to be like drinking from a fire hose. So it's going to be a lot of information in a short amount of time, but I promise you're going to walk away with some great ideas. Number one, we've got to look at how are people actually going about finding you online? Because that is honestly step 1 of marketing. If you can't get found in search, you might as well be invisible. We're going to talk about how to rank number 1 on Google. I also am going to touch on AI searches because more and more people are good at using our good old friend ChatGPT now to ask questions because you get a much more conversational answer. You want to make sure that your practice is getting recommended by ChatGPT. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then my whole philosophy on marketing and healthcare is education-based marketing. We don't want to come across as salespeople or like just sending out like my monthly specials and things like that. You want to be the best at educating your community. So we're going to talk about social media, email marketing, and texting, as well as ways that you can get involved in your community with things like events, speaking engagements. We'll talk a little bit about referrals, and then we'll kind of wrap it all up with a 12-month marketing plan. And I always have a couple of little freebies for you just for sticking with me to the end. And we are recording this, so we will be able to send this out. I think Katie and her team will send this out shortly in the next couple of days. So if you've got an office manager or somebody else that you want to check it out, that they'll have access to that. So this is what I see a lot of times, when I do marketing strategy calls, it's like, man, you know what? I know, you're kind of looking at other people's marketing like, oh, geez, I should be doing that, or should I be doing this, or should I be doing TikTok? And you don't have a never ending budget. So how do you actually pick what are the things that are going to produce ROI? And so a lot of times I think we are thinking, hey, you know what, if I'm a good doctor, I shouldn't have to market myself. Or, a lot of times I'll ask people like, how do you get your patients? Well, they get them from word of mouth. And that's actually great. Yes, absolutely. You want patients to tell their friends and family about you. But at the end of the day, that word of mouth, people are still going to Google to look your phone number up. So we got to make sure that your word of mouth referrals that you're getting actually translate into phone calls and appointments. A lot of times you're so busy seeing patients, you're not really looking at your reviews. You're not looking at what people are saying at you online. Sometimes people will think, hey, you know what? I just got my website done. That was a big project. Thank goodness that's over. I'm good for the next couple of years. So I want you to really think about marketing in a new way. Number 1, even word of mouth, they're still going to Google you. You want your online presence to reflect the quality of care that you're providing. And I want you to focus on education-based marketing. And again, ways that you can contribute to your community, you're going to automatically stand out as a leader in your market, and you will authentically be good at marketing. Now, we're here talking about labs a little bit, right? That's who connected us. But everything that I'm going to go over with you guys today, you are going to be able to rinse and repeat this for pretty much everything that you do in a functional or integrative medicine practice, whether it's hormones or sexual health or gut or weight loss, any of these sort of things. All right, so getting into the meat and potatoes of today's talk is I want to start with how are people going about choosing you as a provider? So, first and foremost, most of us, when we think about, hey, you know what, I'm not really getting the answers I need with my internal medicine doctor, I'm going to talk to some of my friends and family that are the healthy people in my family and ask them, what they do. They might also ask, maybe sometimes people will join like a community Facebook group. Maybe they move to a new town. They join a new Facebook group because they need to get a new dentist, a new hairdresser, a new pediatrician, and they're also looking for a doctor in functional medicine. And you'll see people will give word of mouth recommendations in these groups all the time. So be happy if you get a lot of word of mouth referrals, because that is the best marketing that you can have in place. But then they're still going to go to Google and they're going to get your contact info and they're going to read your reviews. Reviews are extremely important, specifically Google reviews, because I'm going to look at the reviews. If I decide, I want Chinese food for dinner tonight, I'm going to look at the reviews. I'm certainly going to look at the reviews if I'm going to let somebody run labs on me or optimize my hormones or do any sort of panels, or certainly put together a comprehensive wellness program for me. So they're also going to go to your social media. They might look at some of your social media posts, because really what they're trying to do is when they search for you, they're going to find you, hopefully, but then they're also going to find 2 or 3 other doctors too. So how do you get them to choose you, right? So it's things like, what does your social media look like on your website? Does your website position you as an authority, or is it just a bunch of stock photos and kind of a cookie cutter website template? They're also looking for your communication style. Now, a lot of times they might not know that until they meet you, but hey, if you've got a YouTube channel or you've got some videos on your website or you've got social media where they can actually kind of see you and hear from you, that can really say, you know what, I think this person is approachable. I think this is a doctor that I feel like I would connect with. So this is the process. And this is something that, especially in cash medicine, this decision-making process takes a while. Like, I kind of got to feel like crap for like a year before I'm like, you know what, to heck with this. I'm going to go pay out of pocket for somebody that actually specializes in this. So we also have to keep that in mind. When we're running ads or we're doing marketing, we can't expect a stranger that's never heard of you before to say, yep, tomorrow I'm ready to make an appointment. We need to get them to learn who you are first. Maybe that's through search engine optimization or social media. And then we've got to get them to opt into something. Maybe they download a free guide or they register for your webinar. And then ultimately we try to get them to become a patient, but your patients need to know everything you do. Those are people that, you don't want to find out if you do functional medicine and aesthetics that they're going somewhere else for aesthetics, or you just got a new device and they had no idea that you did that and now they're going somewhere else for it. So nurturing your existing patients, but then also getting them to become promoters. So my functional medicine doctor that I've gone to now, I think this is my 6th year I've been going to her. I have sent 29 of my friends and their husbands to this doctor. So I am a very big promoter of the practice because she's changed my life. And so think about, again, these people that are already on your list, they hang out with people like them. And so that is your low hanging fruit, are these people that are at least leads and or patients of yours. So even if they get a referral from another doctor, they're still going to Google you and do their own research before they decide to come in to make an appointment. And so first, I always like to kind of peel back the onion, and it's a good time, especially here, we're kind of heading into a new year. We want to look at like, hey, what do people see when they look me up? And are there some things that maybe we can improve? So marketing, in my opinion, has 2 steps. Very simple. Step 1, get found when someone is searching for any of the health conditions, specifically searching for a doctor. Searching for labs, right? You got to show up, but then you also have to be chosen. So we'll talk about both of those. We're first going to talk about the getting found piece. So this starts with your website. There's a saying in marketing, content is king, and that is still very, very true. You want to make sure that your website is rich in content. Um, it is your first impression. They're going to probably see this before they ever meet you. Number one, it needs to be in WordPress. So there are some do-it-yourself marketing programs like Squarespace and Wix and these sort of things. Those websites are not actually designed to get found in search. I mean, they have some SEO, search engine optimization plugins, but to be honest with you, they're not very good. And at the end of the day, you're competing now in functional medicine and integrative medicine and wellness. You're competing with big telehealth companies that are spending millions and millions of dollars on advertising. If your website is in a do-it-yourself platform, you have no chance in ranking. So WordPress is most important. One page of content for every one of the major things that you do. And I would make this more around symptoms than services, because people, they just know what they feel like. They don't know what your solution actually is. You need a full page of content for every one of these things. Also, personal photos. So it's fine if you use some stock, but at the end of the day, if I see the real person and the real team and the real office, that is something that will help me choose you over everybody else. Credibility symbols. So think about the things that make you the specialist that you are. Whether it is your community involvement, whether it's a top doctor award, whether you've been featured in a local magazine or you're a member of a chamber of commerce. Those clear credibility symbols, you'll notice here, Dr. Jeffy, she's got her picture, she's got her awards, she's got the different media outlet that she's been featured in. That is something that will significantly improve the conversions of your website and people saying, yes, this is the go-to provider that I want to make that appointment with. So again, I talked a little bit about this. In my opinion, a lot of doctors waste time. They're trying to save money because they build their own website. One of these do-it-yourself builders, they're not actually saving money because now their marketing is going to be 10 to 15 times more expensive because it's very difficult to get traffic to those pages. So what you're trying to do is get ranked organically in the top 3 of Google without having to pay Google a cent. 95% of the phone calls are going to go to the people that show up in what we call the Google 3-pack. So I touched on this a little bit, again, just looking at the website. One thing I didn't touch on is just freshness of content. So this is where you'll see a lot of people will add blogs to their website. So just don't let your website be a set it and forget it. You want to make sure that you're adding depth of content on your website about specific topics. So also mobile, it needs to work good on a phone, because we know that 95% of people are looking at this on a phone. If Google says that your website is at all messed up with a mobile version, they will purposely diminish the amount of traffic that they send to your website. So we talked a little bit about this little red section here, what we would call your website content. Now I want to talk to you about what else is involved with search engine optimization and getting found. And a lot of times I'll find when I talk to providers and they say they've got somebody doing SEO, and I really dig a little bit deeper on what specifically they're doing for SEO, they're only doing this little piece of the pie here. They're just doing like on-page optimization of the website. So 26% of what Google cares about is the content of your website and the technical search engine optimization of that site. 30% of what Google cares about is GMB, Google My Business, or newly named GPB, Google Business Profile. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to optimize this profile. 30% of their equation is how well your Google Business Profile is optimized. And the beauty of Google Business is it is free for you to do. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what to do on that. 13% of the equation is how many reviews you have. And this makes sense, right? If somebody is searching for, best doctor to fix my gut problem near me, right? Part of being best is who has the most reviews. Those reviews need to be on Google if at all possible. Some of these other sites that people put their reviews on, they don't really help you with search ranking. So Google cares mostly about Google reviews. And then we have links. Links are going to be everywhere else on the internet that is linking back to your website. So for example, Access Medical Labs. Somebody goes to their website and they go to choose a provider and you have a profile on there that links back to your website. That is a backlink. And because their website gets a lot of hits, that's considered an authoritative backlink back to your website. And it's sort of like a popularity contest. If Google can see that a whole bunch of people are talking about your website, Google considers your website to be more authoritative and they're more likely to show you in the results. So we'll talk a little bit about how do you get these links and why they're important. Citations are also a piece of it. So citations are things like your Google, your Yelp, your Yahoo, your Bing profile, and I'll touch on that briefly as well. So one of the things that we like to do, and I'm happy to do this for anybody that's part of this webinar or watches the replay, is we can do a scan of your website and give you a report that looks at your page speed. So for example, this provider, they're going to get dinged in Google search because their website is very slow to load. And so sort of think of it like this. Google is trying to give that person the fastest, most accurate answer to their question. And I would add ChatGPT in that as well. It's trying to give that person an answer in 5 seconds. If your website takes 16.7 seconds to fully load, guess what? They've zipped past you and shown somebody else's content. So page speed, it looks like they've got a bunch of loops in the back end of their website that need to get compressed. So that's a scan. Completely happy to do for anybody that is interested. Meta descriptions. Meta descriptions, this is part of what we would call technical search engine optimization. This is something that your web developer should do when they build your website. But again, sometimes people have a web developer that's a great designer who knows absolutely nothing about SEO, and now they have a beautiful website that gets no traffic. Meta descriptions a lot of times is the reason for that. So your meta descriptions are the most important piece of text on your website. It tells Google what the page is about. So making sure that you do have those in place. Again, we can scan that and show that to you. Now we've got the traffic to your website, but how do we get those people to convert? A lot of these people will leave if they don't see that you're really the expert in the authority. Because remember, they're choosing between Dr. A, B, and C to make an appointment with. So social proof. Social proof will increase your conversions on your website by up to 48% quickly, instantly. So what can you do? Tomorrow, you can talk to your web developer and you can say, hey, I was on this webinar and I got a great idea. I need to add some additional credibility to my website. And so think about things like your board certification, right? If you're a board certified gynecologist, you want the ACOG logo on your website. And I would say it needs to be on the home page of your website right below the hero image. You don't want this buried on the about page of page 3 of your website that nobody's looking at. So you want it to scream authority when somebody lands on your website. So board certifications, any sort of top doctor awards, local awards, any affiliations. So maybe you're a member of the Institute for Functional Medicine or you're part of A4M. Those logos should be on your website. Local awards if you're like a center of excellence for like a certain company. And then also, hey, if you're rated as a 5-star rated office, these are things that you want to add to your website. Press releases. So this is in the bucket of links and also authority building. So what a press release is this is an article that gets sent out via Newswire. So rather than it just being a blog, this is an article that now gets sent out to the media. So if you've ever seen somebody that has a website that says like, as seen on ABC, NBC, CBS, those people really aren't interviewed on the news. These are people that probably are doing press releases as part of their SEO strategy. So the press release gets sent out via Newswire and it gets picked up by affiliates. Actually, I don't have a slide to show this, but you'll get a report that shows all of the places that your website your article gets picked up. So it'll be on your local ABC TV station's website. There's an article all about, maybe you won an award, maybe like right now it's menopause month. Maybe there's a little thing about menopause month and some of the things that you offer at your practice related to menopause month. So this also builds links back to your website. So you can add to your website, hey, as seen on Google News, CBS, NBC, Yahoo News, etc. But when we run a scan for backlinks for your website, you get a lot of authoritative backlinks because they're media outlets that pick up your article. Awards, again, just looking for those sort of opportunities, whether it's an award, a feature in a magazine. We also do some stuff personally with like USA Today to get people recognized on Doctor's Day. So those are all additional things to build credibility. So we talked about your website. Now I want to just show you real quick under the hood of Google Business. So your Google Business profile is your #1 listing. It shows up actually above the #1 ranked website. So we're trying to get you in that local 3-pack. On the back end of your Google Business, you're going to be able to see some things like this. So first up, you've got to claim your listings. Make sure you, as the business owner, own your profile. It's not a marketing company. It's not your office manager. While it's fine to have them on there, you want to make sure you own your profiles. If you used to work, like let's say you used to be a hospitalist or an ER doctor and now you're doing functional medicine, you do want to look up and make sure you don't have some old profiles out there at your old practice or at the hospital, because when people look you up, you want them to find your new location. So claim your listings and then complete your profile. So you'll get access to the back end of it like this. You can add your business category. So you can have, you want to make sure your main category is not doctor or medical center, because then you're getting lumped in with urgent cares and hospitals. In functional medicine, unfortunately, that is not a category on Google. You have to kind of like stick with their categories. So I would say, alternative medicine practitioner, holistic medicine provider, wellness center, you could have. You can have doctor, you could have weight loss clinic. If you're doing medical spa, you can have those, but just make sure your primary category is not doctor or medical clinic. You want a keyword rich description. You want to add all of your service areas, and you want to tell Google all the things that you do. And then in addition to that, there's a little section called From the Business. So in this example, this doctor is a woman-owned business. If you're a veteran-owned business, or there's a bunch of other categories that you can pick. So make sure that you do complete that. Google says that they will send more traffic to people whose profiles are complete. You also want to do photos. So adding lots of photos to Google. This is straight from Google. We'll send you more direction requests. We'll send you more clicks to your website if you've got photos. So outside the office, inside the office, treatment rooms, and yes, even your bathroom. Put those pictures on Google. If you have like before and afters, those are also really good. And you can even put videos on your Google business profile. And the beauty of this is measurable, right? So Google Maps, Google search 90 days before and after, you will see a bump in search results and map views with zero ad spend just by working on your Google business profile. So make sure you guys do that. In addition to that are the other big ones. So we talked about Google. We've got Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, Yelp. Yelp, I actually hate them as a company. I think they'll drive you crazy trying to sell you Yelp packages that you don't need. But you do need to have a profile on Yelp, because Yelp is hooked to the iPhone and Apple Maps. So if you don't have a Yelp profile, you may not be showing up for people that are searching on an iPhone with Safari or Apple Maps. Your social media, those are backlinks for you. Bing is also important because Bing is the default browser for anybody that has a Microsoft computer, and it is also linked to ChatGPT. So we want to make sure you're on Bing, Yahoo, all of the voice, and then all the doctor related listings too. So you want to make sure that you have those. And then any of these companies like Access Medical Labs that you're working with, a lot of them have a physician finder. Make sure you've completed those profiles. This will significantly increase the traffic to your website and the authority of your domain. Reputation is also important, right? We look at reviews for Chinese restaurants. We're definitely going to look for reviews for doctors that we're going to. And in fact, Google also says, we will send you more traffic if you have more reviews. So 201 reviews or more, they're sending 717 visits to that profile as opposed to one that has 10 or less. There's software to do this. There's simple things like QR codes that you can do. At the end of the day, you just have to make sure you're asking happy people to leave you a review. All right, looks like there's a chat here. Let me just make sure. Okay, gotcha. So Katie's just asking you some questions in the chat if you guys have questions. All right, so now we're going to talk about education-based marketing. And I love this quote because I think this is so, so important, and why I think a lot of marketing agencies, in my opinion, are super cringy. Nobody wants to get sold stuff from their doctor. They want to feel like their doctor is an expert, that their doctor cares about them, that their doctor is educating them so they can be the healthiest version of themselves. So when you think about marketing, I want you to really think about it as I'm going to be the best at educating my patients and my community. And as a result, you will be the best at marketing. We'll start with just touching on social media. Social media, again, it is called social media, not stock photo media, not have the girl at the front desk just post some like Canva stuff on your social media. Like people want to get to know you. The one thing that I do want to touch on, however, since we are talking about smart marketing on a budget, is we need to be mindful of the amount of time that it takes you to create social media content. And I find that a lot of doctors get overly obsessed with critiquing every little teeny tiny post that they put up on social media. And they forget that your Instagram, your Facebook, your X, your TikTok, these posts are expired in like a few hours. So this is why it is exhausting to put out social media content, because what I see in my newsfeed in the morning is completely different than what I see in the newsfeed at lunchtime. However, search engine optimization, let's just take, for example, a blog article, or even better, a press release. That one piece of content lives on the internet and helps you with keywords for 2 years. So this is why search engine optimization and content is the most important thing that you can do that's sticky and it isn't exhausting. This is something that can really, really help you. YouTube, in my opinion, is the most important social media platform because YouTube is owned by Google, and YouTube also will significantly impact you getting found in ChatGPT, which again is something that all of us should be paying attention to. The other thing about social media is don't forget these groups. So this is actually a screenshot from my personal social media. A few years ago, I moved to a new town and I needed to get, a new gynecologist and a new dentist and a new pediatrician. And so I just took some screenshots of people in these groups that are posting all the time. Hey, I'm looking for a good female gynecologist, 30 comments. I'm looking for someone for Botox, 20 comments. I'm looking for a functional medicine doctor. This is a lot of times where online word of mouth happens. So make sure you and your team are in that group. You're hosting a webinar, you can post in the group. Hey, we're really excited to host an educational webinar. Wanted to let the community know. As long as you're not posting like salesy stuff, that sort of stuff can be a really good opportunity. And I've seen people really get some great results just by being mindful of these groups. I do want to touch on email marketing, because email marketing, I think people like, I don't want to do email marketing. I get so many emails. Nobody wants to get my emails. I can tell you that doctors have the #2 open rate of any email that goes out. The only thing that beats doctors is religious organizations. So your patients do want to hear from you, especially if you're providing education. So it has a higher conversion than both social media and search combined. And in terms of converting leads into patients, you're going to generate 50% more sales ready leads at a 33% lower cost than if your whole strategy is just Google ads and meta ads and all cold traffic marketing. So real quick, just touching on social media, I'm going to go back just for a quick second here, just to talk about, again, positioning yourself as an expert. And you can do this in your email as well. Like, hey, you just won a new award. You just joined a new society. Those are things that you can highlight in your email and social. Highlighting your team. People want to know like the person that they're seeing at the office and what you're passionate about and why you left traditional medicine and went into functional medicine. Those are all things people want to know. Health months. So every month is a health month. You can actually go on our website, on the Medical Marketing Whiz website. We have a list of every single health month that's out there. So this month right now is menopause month. So you should be talking about menopause. There's already a lot of media going around talking about this topic. Make sure you're capitalizing on that extra noise and touching on some of those health month things. And then again, highlighting your team as well. So highlighting, birthdays of your team, work anniversaries, those are things that'll get a lot of comments. And you got to remember, these platforms reward engagement. So let's say you have an event coming up and you want to market your event. you want to make sure whatever you're posting on social the day before is going to get a lot of comments on it. So again, highlighting your team is always a great way to do that. And it also helps your team feel appreciated. Growing your followers. So again, follow the doctors that you want to refer to you, the businesses that you want to refer to you, the health food store, the yoga studio. One of them that I think is really important is, so just again, to tell you my own personal background, I am like I would say addict, I guess, of Pure Barre, which is a exercise class, and it's a chain. And they do pop-ups. In fact, this Saturday they have a pop-up between 8 and 12 with a functional medicine doctor that is going to be there doing free. I don't know if they're doing free B12 shots, but I know they're doing B12 shots and some other things. And this is a great place to get in front of people that are spending 179 bucks a month for a fitness membership. So you want to follow those kind of businesses, and those are businesses that you can collaborate with and do events and pop-ups and things like that with. Using hashtags, engaging with your followers. That's the other thing. Like, you can't say, well, nobody's liking my video. Well, how many videos are you liking, right? So it's a two-way street. We got to make sure that we're engaging with your followers. And then just don't make this be a time vampire. We have a piece of software called the Dr. Social Whiz. A lot of our clients will use this to pre-schedule content out 30 days in advance, so it doesn't have to be this big daunting thing. So we can always talk about that later. You can also run ads. So let's say you don't have a good email list. You're just starting out. You need to build your email list. Running low-cost social media ads is a great way to do that, but you do need to know how to target. So we want top 50% income bracket. We want people that are already looking up these sorts of things. You can pick a radius around your office. You can pick gender, age, and so forth. You don't want your ad to be make an appointment with me, right? Because they don't know who you are. So we want to give them something in exchange for their contact information. So something like an ebook download. I've seen people successfully do like little gift cards, contests, things like that. Something where you're getting somebody to opt in, and then you can use automation. So we use Go High Level. It'll do email automation, text messaging, and it will also do a voicemail drop. So it'll actually call the person's phone directly from you without your staff having to do it. So we talked a little bit about email marketing. A monthly newsletter is always a great idea to implement. Again, 80% helpful, 20% can be promotional. Always have some kind of like little healthy recipe or something like that in there. That's always something that gets a lot of clicks, keeps you out of the spam folder. So email marketing, you definitely want to make sure that you're doing that. Email marketing outperforms ads, SEO, and social media. We get really, really high open rates. Industry average is about 18% for doctors. We're getting like upwards of 40+%. And this was actually one of our newer clients. It was like, hey, one of my patients must have saw the newsletter and booked a consult for GLP-1s. So it does definitely work. Last but not least, this is the thing. If you want to pay for your marketing, if you want to pay off equipment quickly, if you're like, hey, I need to like close out the year strong, this is the number one thing that you can do, is do some sort of an event. Just like you're on the webinar today, you get the chance to hear me, hear my expertise. It's the exact same thing that we want our doctors to do. Patients have not had a provider like you that can take the time to really explain things. So I really believe you should have a signature talk. We're going to talk first just about events, and then I'll kind of wrap things up because I know I'm jamming a lot of stuff in a short amount of time here. But doing some sort of an event like once a quarter. So again, just a few ideas here of some different events. This is one that we found to be extremely successful this year specifically. The M Factor is a documentary on menopause. We actually bought the rights to this movie so we can use it for any of our doctors. We've done movie screenings at movie theaters, in offices. We've done them at libraries. This is a very well done documentary. If you specialize in menopausal medicine, it touches on mental health side of menopause, weight management, sexual health, just overall hormone imbalance. It's really, really well done. So we can think out of the box, do things like that. Maybe it's a webinar. decode your hormones. Maybe it's some sort of like theme related to the time of year, like a back to school sort of reboot for busy parents. How do you get the word out? So whether you're doing an event or you're doing a webinar, for events, I would say you want to give yourself 4 solid weeks to market. So typically, you need to be planning it at least like 6 weeks in advance because you're targeting busy professional people. So we don't want to say, hey, our event is in 2 weeks. They already know what work meeting they have and what soccer game they've got to be at. They probably can't come. So give them enough time in advance. A webinar, you don't have to promote as far in advance. I feel like most people register within the last 2 weeks of when the webinar goes out. So you want to use email marketing, you want to use social media, it should be added to your website. Eventbrite, you should put your events there. It'll create a registration page. You can load your whole email list in there. It'll send an email blast out to invite people to the event, and it will find people not on your list that they think would be interested in your event, and it will actually send the invite to them as well. Doesn't cost you anything. Google Business, we talked about that. Post your event on your Google Business profile. Tell your Chamber of Commerce. Your Chamber of Commerce, I believe everybody should be a member of their Chamber of Commerce in this space because this is all the local business owners who want to be healthy and also have people that work for them that they need to be healthy. So that is a great place to do pop-ups, collaborate with. And then we also talked about press releases. Make sure the media knows about your events and webinars, helps you with search engine optimization, and also gets you media attention. So this is kind of our, what I would say like is a 12-month plan. And you're really going to look at your marketing in 90-day chunks. And then you're going to rinse and repeat this process every quarter. So I don't want you to think, oh my goodness, there's so many things that I'm not doing. Just think of 1 or 2 things that we went over today that you can implement. And then as you plan out your October, November, December, for example, you want to think about, hey, do I have an event scheduled or a webinar scheduled? You really should. You've got your social going, you've got your newsletter, you're asking for reviews, and you've got your search engine optimization going. You're going to rinse and repeat that again, Q1 of next year, but now it's going to just have new wrapping paper around it. Now it's new year, new you. So you're following the same system, and every quarter you've got SEO, email, social, event, rinse and repeat. That's the strategy that will create a very organized and cumulative effect in your marketing. So I know I went over a lot. Again, not expecting you guys to go and implement every single one of these things right away, but hopefully you came away with 1 or 2 ideas that you can sort of think about as you plan out your next 90 days. We are more than happy to do a strategy call with you. In advance of this call, we do a 30-page marketing analysis of your practice. We do a website scan, an SEO scan, a visibility scan, social media. We can look up your competitors' ads on social media, show you how they're targeting your zip codes. We spend about an hour with you on the phone going through this on a Zoom meeting. So I'm more than happy to do that. If you would like to take advantage of it, you can also just go to our website. And I mentioned that I was going to give you guys some freebies. So Katie mentioned I have multiple books on Amazon. The most popular one is called Anti-Aging and Longevity Marketing. We are going to mail a copy, a free author copy of this book in the mail to you for no charge. This literally has 10 years of marketing ideas all packed in one book. So we are going to, just as a thank you, I'm going to send that to you guys in the mail. You can also get access to it just by booking a call with us, but I will work with Katie to make sure that you guys all get that mailed to you. And as I mentioned, you'll get a report that'll have like all of the scans and kind of gives you a good idea of maybe some of the things that you're doing amazing, and then some of the things that you might want to think about tweaking next year. So that's the marketing analysis. I'm always happy to get any feedback. If you guys found value in the webinar that I did today and you want Access Medical Labs to do more of these, please tell them. Because I would love to come and do like even a deeper dive on some of these topics that you guys want to know more about. I know we touched on a lot of them today. All right, so questions. Any questions? Let me see if there's any questions that I see. Okay, there's a couple questions here. Let's see. What type of photos do you recommend for a virtual clinic on the Google Business Profile? Okay, that's a great question. Because yes, there's more and more of us that are all doing this on telehealth now. And I think that's really smart, actually. So it can be tricky for your Google business profile sometimes to even get it approved because you don't have a physical location. So it's very similar to my Medical Marketing Whiz. Like we're national. I don't want my like address on Google. So you can still get your profile. You're just going to hide the address. In terms of photos, if you have any like professional photos, like a headshot or like, work pictures of you at your computer or any like patient before and afters, testimonials, those are things that you can add to your Google business profile. So obviously, you're not going to take a picture of your house in your bathroom. So just like personal photos, just a handful of those, your logo, a nice cover photo, all of that would be good. Okay, yes. So another question again about 100% online. Seems that Google business profiles require a physical address. So yeah, you can't use like a PO box or anything either. Uh, it has to be like you just hide your address. If you want, I am happy to get on and I can have you share your Google business profile and I'll show you how to set it up on the back end. Because it's going to be exactly like how ours is. The address is actually hidden and you can still get it. You can still get it verified. Okay. Sheila says she wants the scans. Thank you. Link again for the free book. Yeah. Let me go back. Let's see. Yeah, you'll just go on and scan that and then we'll get you the book. Amazing webinar. Okay, good. Oh, I'm glad you liked it. We'll get you the free gifts. Okay. One thing I struggle with is putting marketing out there and worrying that others will steal it. This has happened in so many other things in my business and prevents me from doing a lot. I can totally relate. I actually had an employee download my entire Google Drive one time and think they were gonna like start their own marketing company. So that kind of stung. So I can relate to you on worrying that people are gonna steal stuff. Can you really prevent that? No. I would say that the chances of that happening are very low. And I would say that your reward of actually doing the marketing stuff is going to be much more important. Now, I will say, for example, like with a webinar, make it gated. So they have to register in order to actually get the webinar. And you can have the webinar on YouTube or Vimeo, but have it be unlisted. So that way, people aren't like stealing your videos and things like that. But yeah, I can understand. I think that's unfortunately just a risk that we have being in business that we have to. Okay, Holly said this is a great present. Oh, thank you, Holly. Let's see, QR code for the book again. Recommendations for a WordPress website. Yes, so you can, if WordPress isn't the easiest thing, like you can figure it out. But if, in my opinion, I would just pay somebody. You got to remember how much you're worth per hour. You're a healthcare provider. You're not a web designer. Like if you spend, let's say, $3,500 to get your website done properly in WordPress, and we do websites, so I'm always happy to talk to you about that. But even if you have somebody else do it, just make sure they know search engine optimization. So you could build a WordPress website, but if you don't know SEO, you don't want to know what keywords need to be on it. Again, you're not going to get any traffic to it. So, you get one or two patients because your website is now in WordPress, you've more than paid for your website. So don't think of it like a big, if now somebody's going to charge you $10,000 for your website, then no, you should not be paying $10,000 for a website. Signature talks, what do you suggest specifically? And do you have handouts for participants? Yes, signature talks. So I'm just saying like this is kind of one of my signature talks. It's like a marketing overview. So maybe you have like a functional medicine overview, like what is functional medicine? If you specialize in like men's health, for example, maybe you're going to have one specifically about like how to feel great over 40 when you're a man or vice versa for a woman. So you just want to have a talk that you can get really good at. And then that's the talk that you can do over and over and over again. And then it'll help you be confident in being a speaker. And then it makes it a lot easier when you want to expand your topics into more things. Can I pay ChatGPT to advertise my business? Not yet, but I think that's probably coming. Right now, I will tell you guys. So like when people book marketing calls with me, I always ask them how they hear about us. I kid you not, in the last 6 months, I would say 50% of them are people search who's the best functional medicine marketing company. and ChatGPT is telling them that it's us. But it's because we do the exact same things that we do for our doctors. Like, I'm doing press releases. I'm on here doing a webinar right now. I speak at medical conferences. And we're adding blogs to our website. So we're getting reviews. These are all things that we're doing that I know affects ChatGPT. I do have an entire webinar on just answer engine optimization and how to get found by ChatGPT. So that's something that I could do live for you guys. I can also send you guys the replay. Do I need to schedule a meeting for the free book? The book takes me to a meeting link. I will say that talk to Katie, because Katie's the one that's going to have the list of everybody that registered for this, because I don't have that list. You do have to go through the code so I know who you are. Otherwise, I'll have to talk to Katie and see if we can get them out, but we will get them to you. Love go high. Oh my gosh, look at all these messages. This is great. All right, Katie, I know I probably got way over on time, so I'll let you wrap it up. And then if there's any questions that I didn't answer, you guys, again, I'm totally happy to have our team get on and do a call with you.
Lori, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. To say this was an amazing webinar. We have so many comments in chat about how helpful this was. And yes, we will absolutely, to answer many of these questions, we will absolutely provide all of the slides, which will include the QR codes in our follow-up email later this week. So you will have access to all of that, as well as the on-demand recording of the webinar. Yeah, I have one question for you specifically.
Yeah.
You presented so many great ideas. And you mentioned your top one was events and the signature talk. If there were maybe one or two others, and our providers could only do one or two of these others by the end of 2025, what would you say they should focus on the most that would have the highest impact?
And for the least amount of money and the fastest results.
Yes, exactly.
Going to be your Google business profile. So posting on Google Business, adding the photos, and getting reviews. I would become obsessed between now and the end of the year and getting Google reviews. Like, I kid you not, if you're hanging out with friends and family this weekend, as long as you have access to your Google Business profile, there's a little section in there that says ask for reviews. If you click on it, it'll give you the URL that you can share with people. And you give that to them. You ask every friend and family that you have on planet Earth that does not have your last name, and you ask them to leave your review. Now, they don't need to lie and say they're a patient. They can just say, like, super thankful that this doctor is now available in my area, or like really excited to schedule my first appointment, or whatever. Like, there's things that they can say where they're not like fibbing. But reviews, you guys, I'm telling you, you will rank so much faster. And then the other thing, and I know you told me to only say one, but press releases are another low cost thing. We can do a press release. You don't even have to be a client of ours. We can do a press release. We charge $397 for a press release. You get a minimum of 200 media links. That is also something, like, you've got menopause month right now. Next month is breast cancer month. It's also World Menopause Month. Then you've got bladder health month. Then you've got, like, all the weight loss and holiday stuff. There's got to be one topic that you could do a press release on. Then when somebody Googles you, it's not just your website that comes up, it's all these media mentions. And it's like, wow, she's on like WABC. Like, wow, this is like a pretty legit doctor. So like, those are things that don't cost a lot of money that can have a significant impact quickly. So
absolutely,
hopefully that answers that.
Yes, I completely agree. That's fantastic. And then my other question for you, being in marketing myself, and we know social media, it's here, it's not going anywhere. We kind of have to do it. We need to be present, especially our providers. Finding a lot of our providers on, Instagram, TikTok, and creating a presence for themselves and becoming the face of their brand. And it's exhausting to try to keep up and create all that content, like you mentioned. So what are some of your top tools for keeping up with social, for creating consistent content? What would you suggest to some of these providers who want to jump in but feel like it's just, it might be a little too much?
So what I would do is we talked about having that signature talk. So like this webinar today, I could take this webinar, I can put it up on YouTube. So that's one social media platform. I can chop this webinar up into probably 30 short videos that I can pre-schedule for social media. So you want to, I could transcribe this webinar and it could become a blog article. One thing that I did. And then that webinar is out there on the internet helping you. So that would be one thing, like again, just having that signature talk or like a longer talk that you can chop up. And then also pre-scheduling your content. So we talked about like our platform's called the Dr. Social Whiz. It has AI in it. So I can say, hey, I just decided to now offer terzepatide in my practice and I want to have an announcement about it. And it'll write the whole post. It integrates with Canva and then you just schedule it. So there's that. There's other ones though. There's Hootsuite, Buffer, some of these other where you can pre-schedule it. But I think it's just what you shouldn't do is get so nitpicky about every single video or like, I hate how I look on video. Well, then don't look at your video. Like you're not going to like yourself. I don't want to watch myself on this webinar because it's going to make me cringe. So I'm just not going to watch it.
I say that every time I see myself on camera. I agree with you there.
So yeah. And then the other thing just about like mentioning all these platforms, you have to know where your patients are. If your patients aren't on TikTok right now, you spending a bunch of time trying to figure out TikTok dances or figuring out how to I'm not saying you shouldn't have a profile. You should. But you got to know where your patients are hanging out, and if it is still on Facebook, then that's the platform that you want to know. And then just get good at one of them. Don't try to be good at all of them at the same time because they're all different. So that would be my suggestion.
I'm so sorry for my phone going off in the middle of this.
Oh, you're okay. I talked for a long time here, so
So I just want to wrap up by saying, again, amazing. And thank you for everyone who joined. We had over 150 people just watching it at one
yeah.
time, which is fantastic. So you have helped so many people today. So again, thank you. And then one last thing for those of you who may not know, we have just launched the Lifestyle Medicine podcast with our host, Dr. Ivan Roselko. And we explore new perspectives at the forefront of personalized medicine. He is charismatic. He's great. You can learn a lot. So you can follow the Lifestyle Medicine podcast on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. So check it out for more learning from Access Labs. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lori, so much.
Thank you. Great seeing you, Katie. Thanks for
Bye.
organizing. Yeah, bye-bye.